What it is, what it do, cyber world. Welcome to the Ash Said It Show. I am your host, Ash Brown. I appreciate all of the love and support that you guys pour over to me and the show and everything. It makes a huge difference. Over 1,700 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. None of this is possible without you guys. So I thank you so very much. So very much. And on this wonderful full afternoon, my darlings, we are blessed with author, leadership expert. Okay, I can't even get the words out. The wonderful Andrea Kayne. Hello.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Andrea. So, Andrea, where in the world are you today? Where are you setting sail on?
I am in Chicago on a rainy day in
Ooh.
Chicago.
Well, it's a rainy day here in the A-Town as well, so you're in good company. Awesome, awesome. All right, so your new book, Kicking Ass in a Corset. Tell us all about the title and what it really means.
Definitely. So, kicking ass in a corset is a metaphor for the ways in which we are squeezed, suffocated, those corsets, those metaphoric corsets that make it unable for us to breathe, and how we can tap in, just like you have in your life,
Right.
tap into an internal power, an agency, a sense of remembering who we really are. And we cannot just sort of survive those corsets, but we can thrive. We can kick ass if we know that, we are way more powerful than we believe, or than, environments sometimes try to convince us that we don't have power when we really do.
Yes. Now, with COVID happening and our lives never being the same, a lot of studies have shown that women were more disenfranchised than men as far as being pushed out of jobs, squeezed out of jobs, forcing to leave jobs because of family situations, childcare, healthcare, whatever the case may be. Why do you feel that a lot of women were kind of pushed into these really unfair circumstances?
It's so true. There's been a lot of research about the disproportionate impact of COVID on women in terms of the workforce, in terms of, switching out of remote work, disproportionate child care responsibilities, or disproportionate, care of relative responsibilities. And I think, one of the reasons I wrote this book was to talk about how there's been this pervasive gender discrimination in the way workplaces, structural discrimination, the way workplaces are set up. And as women, we have been told to be good girls in the corner and just be grateful for whatever crumbs we get. But we need to realize that these workplaces are lucky to have us.
Yes.
And that we have choices. And, it's about, we want to change the patriarchy out there, but we also want to get rid of the patriarchy in our minds that we've internalized. And that's kind of what the book is about, how to detox, those so-called truths, which we, have adopted because of the way we were raised, be a good girl, be quiet, you aren't as important. It's like the supporting character in everyone else's movie rather than starring in our own movies.
Yes.
And I think we need a new frame.
I agree. I definitely agree on that one. So, how do you suggest that we reprogram these universal truths and shoulds that don't reflect our values?
I have a lot of exercises in the book, and I'm a leadership professor and a women's empowerment coach, so I'm working with groups all the time, and I don't want to pick on women, but it's especially hard for women. I have them do this exercise where I ask them to write 3 words, 3 strengths that have nothing to do with what they do for other people, how they serve other people, or how other people view them. It's kind of like if the tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear, it doesn't make a sound. And it will take them so long to remember who they are in the absence of other people.
Yeah.
And I think by going through that exercise and defining ourselves for ourselves, it's really, really powerful.
I believe that. I totally. Now, as much as it is important for us to really be good at our jobs and continue to persevere, no matter what the industry is, no matter what position that we're in, how should women incorporate rest and renewal into our day-to-day lives just to really achieve that greater creativity?
Oh, that's so important. That's one of my principles that is so key, because also, too, and again, I think the great news as women is we can be very selfless.
Yeah.
And put ourselves last. But that's also the bad news, is that a lot of people get to the point where there's nothing in the tank. And we need to somehow build in to our day, and it could be meditation, it could be walking the dog, it could be reading a chapter of a trashy novel, it could be listening to the Ash podcast. We need to build in time every day that is just for us. And it's key for us to refuel and have balance. Research also shows when we do that, we're actually more productive in our jobs and we're more creative. We need to nurture and feed that right brain. It's really important we don't wait till burnout and we don't put ourselves last.
Right.
Just like we brush our teeth or we take a bath, we need to kind of build it in.
I agree on that one. And a lot of people were very, how should I say, kind of frantic with the pandemic. The pandemic has it's become a part of our lives. Whether or not you want to recognize it or not, people, it's here. It's a part of our everyday life. And one thing that it taught me was to be still. And I don't know if I told you before, Andrea, but I was a flight attendant for about 3 years. And I was literally stationed in Nevada, in Denver, in Orlando. And I was just stationed in all these different places. I had this crazy, ridiculous schedule. Everything was just go, 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 go. I'm on somebody else's schedule. Go, go, go. Pandemic hits. And I'm literally just like self-quarantining, by myself in these weird cities and these strange hotels that I can't leave for a month on time. And it starts to mess with your psyche a little bit. But you also come to the place of, you know what, this is time for me to be quiet. This is time for me for self. And I relearned a lot. I'm going to say relearned, but I learned a lot more about myself within the pandemic than anything. And meditation is very important. Self-care, it's necessary.
Yeah.
It is absolutely necessary.
You are so right. I think the opportunity with the pandemic, there's a new normal. It's a huge paradigm shift. But just like the metaphoric house that collapses, the opportunity is to rebuild the house in a new paradigm where you think, okay, very consciously and intentionally, what gives me meaning? What do I need? How can I think about my days differently? And I loved your phrase about being still.
Yeah.
There's such an opportunity in being still to listen. It's so easy to be busy and distracted and fill up, avoid thinking about those big things. But when we're still, we can tap into our soul and we can tap into our meaning and we can make those changes that can really open up our lives.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that. Now, last but certainly not least, what advice would you offer to any woman out there today that is struggling in a career path? She's struggling in trying to find the new normal and finding some sort of balance, dare I say it. But what advice would you offer to that woman today?
I think it's really important to kind of have scaffolding and not go 0 to 60.
Okay.
So I think for that woman, once a week, doing something that is that stillness, that is that meaning, that involves tuning out the noise, like adding that once a week for a month. And then the next month, adding a second thing. And making those kind of routines so that after a while, it becomes like part of, muscle memory, just part of that sacred practice. I also think to reframe, and instead of looking at our work and our lives, what do they think, what do they need, asking, what do I think? What do I need?
Oh, yeah. I absolutely agree with that 1,000%. Andrea Kayne, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, this was wonderful. Thank you so much, Ash, and thanks for all your great work you're putting in the world.
Thank you. Just putting a little, sprinkling some little breadcrumbs here and there, some stuff that I've learned along the way, I'm sure.
It's fairy dust, Ash. It's fairy dust.
Thank you. And let everyone know, Andrea, where they can get the book and how they can follow you on social media.
Yes. So the best place to go is my website, which is AndreaKayne.com, and Kayne is spelled Kayne. And then my Facebook page is Andrea Kayne Official, and my Instagram is Andrea Kayne.
I love it. Much more success. Looking forward to your next visit. You got to come back, Andrea.
Thank you so much.
You got to come back. We're just putting it out there.
I would love that. I'd be so honored. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.